Welcome to Outdoor Oasis Ideas. Today, we're exploring the enchanting world of rustic garden design. While we'll touch upon creating a charming front yard oasis, our main focus will be on inspiring small backyard flower bed ideas that capture that cozy, natural aesthetic. These concepts are perfect for transforming even compact spaces into beautiful blooming retreats. If you love discovering creative landscaping ideas for any outdoor space, especially how to maximize smaller areas, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Let's begin. A rustic flower garden is more than a collection of plants. It's an expression of warmth, nostalgia, and natural beauty. Its charm lies in its simplicity and organic feel, where the elements of nature seamlessly blend with the structure of the garden. The journey begins with the layout. For a rustic garden, whether front or back, opt for a design that feels open and inviting yet layered with depth and interest. Meandering pathways, asymmetrical flower beds, and cozy seating areas are all hallmarks of this style. Instead of rigid lines and geometric patterns, aim for a layout that mimics the natural flow of the countryside, where every corner feels like an invitation to explore. Start with the heart of the garden, the flower beds. Rustic flower beds should feel lush and informal, overflowing with a mix of colors, textures, and fragrances. To achieve this, select a combination of perennials and annuals that complement each other, while blooming at different times of the year. Delphiniums, daisies, hollyhocks, and lavender are classic choices for a rustic aesthetic. These flowers not only provide a burst of color, but also attract pollinators like bees and butterflies, adding life and movement to your garden. Now let's specifically address those charming small backyard flower bed ideas, which are often the heart of a cozy rustic retreat. Even limited space can become a stunning feature. Consider using raised beds built from reclaimed wood or natural stone. They define the space clearly and are easier to manage in smaller yards. Vertical gardening isn't just for walls. Think tiered planters or tall, narrow trellises within the bed itself to draw the eye upward. Another great strategy for small backyards is utilizing corner spaces or creating long, narrow beds along fences or pathways. When selecting plants for these compact areas, prioritize varieties that won't overwhelm the space. Dwarf conifers, compact perennials, and well-behaved annuals are excellent choices. The key is thoughtful selection and maximizing vertical and horizontal planes. For a more natural look, consider layering your plantings. Place taller flowers like sunflowers or foxgloves at the back of the bed, medium-height plants like echinacea and black-eyed Susans in the middle, and low-growing ground covers like creeping thyme or sweet alyssum at the front. This tiered approach creates visual depth and ensures that every plant has its moment to shine. Allow some plants to spill over the edges of the beds or paths. This slight untidiness is part of the charm of a rustic garden. The lawn plays a significant role in a rustic landscape, serving as a canvas that ties all the elements together. Unlike a formal, perfectly manicured lawn, a rustic lawn can embrace a more relaxed look. Consider incorporating clover or wildflower seeds into the grass to create a meadow-like effect. This not only reduces maintenance but also enhances the garden's natural feel. If you prefer a more traditional lawn, frame it with flower beds or stone pathways to integrate it seamlessly into the rustic theme. A porch garden is a delightful addition to a rustic setting, extending the charm of the garden to your home's entrance or main outdoor living area. Use the porch or patio as a stage for potted plants, hanging baskets, and climbing vines. Terracotta pots, weathered wooden crates, and galvanized metal tubs make excellent rustic containers. Arrange them in varying heights and groupings to create a layered, dynamic look. Pathways are another essential feature in crafting the rustic feel, guiding visitors through the space and connecting different areas. A winding gravel path bordered by flowering plants or low hedges creates a sense of journey and discovery. For a more textured look, use stepping stones interspersed with creeping ground covers like moss or sedum. The sound of gravel crunching underfoot or the sight of flowers spilling onto the path enhances the sensory experience of the garden. In a rustic garden, the materials you choose are just as important as the plants. Opt for natural, weathered materials that blend harmoniously with the landscape. Wooden fences, stone walls, and wrought iron accents add character and structure without overshadowing the plants. A rustic bench placed under a shade tree or a simple wooden swing hanging from a sturdy branch can create a cozy spot to sit and enjoy the garden. Fragrance is an often overlooked element in garden design, but it plays a crucial role in creating a truly immersive experience. Incorporate aromatic plants like roses, jasmine, and honeysuckle to fill the air with their sweet scent. Herbs like thyme, mint, and rosemary can be planted along pathways or near seating areas, releasing their fragrance when brushed against. Lighting adds ambience and extends the usability of your garden into the evening. String lights, lanterns, or solar-powered stake lights can create a warm, inviting glow. Place them along pathways, around seating areas, or nestled among plants to highlight the garden's features after dusk. Seasonal changes can add another layer of interest to your rustic garden. Choose plants that provide year-round appeal, from spring bulbs like tulips and daffodils to summer blooms like zinnias and cosmos. In the fall, ornamental grasses and asters can add warm hues, while evergreen shrubs or holly berries provide structure and color in the winter. Embracing the changing seasons ensures that your garden remains vibrant and captivating throughout the year. Expanding on pathways and garden structures. Pathways and structures are the backbone of a rustic garden, guiding visitors and creating a sense of flow. While we've already touched on the idea of gravel paths and stepping stones, there's always room to enhance these elements. For pathways, consider incorporating mosaic designs using broken pottery or colorful stones to add a personal and artistic touch. You can also use natural wood slices as stepping stones, particularly if your garden has a woodland-inspired vibe. These wood slices, treated to resist weathering, blend beautifully with the surrounding plants and add a playful element to your garden. Building upon the idea of structure, arches, trellises, and pergolas can also serve as stunning features in your rustic garden. A wooden archway covered in climbing roses or wisteria creates a magical entrance, while a pergola draped with grapevines or morning glories can provide shade and define an outdoor living area. Rustic trellises made from natural branches or reclaimed wood can support climbing plants like clematis, sweet peas, or ivy, adding vertical interest and a sense of enclosure, which is particularly useful in smaller backyard spaces. If you want to incorporate rustic fencing, consider using split rail fences or woven willow panels. These materials not only define the boundaries of your garden, but also enhance its rustic charm. Allow flowering plants or vines to spill over the fence, softening its edges and creating a seamless blend between the garden and its surroundings. Seasonal themes and decorations. A truly remarkable rustic flower garden evolves with the seasons, offering new colors, textures, and experiences throughout the year. By planning your garden with seasonal interest in mind, you can ensure it remains vibrant and captivating no matter the time of year. In spring, focus on early blooms like tulips, daffodils, and hyacinths to create a fresh and cheerful atmosphere. Add decorative touches like birdhouses, pastel-colored planters, or a vintage watering can filled with fresh-cut flowers. Spring is also the perfect time to clean up any debris from winter and refresh your garden beds with compost or mulch. Summer is the season when your garden will likely be at its peak. This is the time for bold, colorful blooms like zinnias, cosmos, and sunflowers. Incorporate seasonal decor such as rustic picnic setups, hammocks under shade trees, or a small garden fountain to enhance the summer vibe. Even in smaller gardens, simple touches make a difference. Autumn brings a rich, warm palette of oranges, yellows, and deep reds. Swap out summer plants for fall favorites like chrysanthemums, asters, and ornamental kale. Decorate with pumpkins, hay bales, and dried corn stalks to celebrate the harvest season. This is also a great time to add a fire pit or outdoor heater to extend your enjoyment of the garden as the weather cools. In winter, focus on the structural elements of your garden, such as evergreen shrubs, bare tree branches, and hardscaping. Add seasonal decorations like wreaths made from pine cones and holly, or wrap fairy lights around trees and fences to create a cozy, festive atmosphere, proving beauty exists even in dormancy. Designing for the senses. images more than just the eyes. By designing with all five senses in mind, you can create a space that feels rich and alive, drawing people into its beauty on a deeper level. Sight. While flowers and foliage provide the visual foundation, think about contrast and movement. Use contrasting leaf shapes, such as the feathery fronds of ferns next to the broad, spiky leaves of yucca. Incorporate plants that change color throughout the seasons, such as Japanese maples or hydrangeas. Consider adding reflective surfaces, like a small pond or a polished stone, to catch and play with sunlight. Smell. Fragrance plays a powerful role in evoking emotion and memory. Include aromatic plants like lavender, honeysuckle, jasmine, and roses. For a dynamic sensory experience, plant herbs like thyme and mint along pathways, so their fragrance is released when brushed. Seasonal smells, like pine in winter or hyacinths in spring, make your garden feel alive year-round. Sound. Incorporate elements that create gentle, relaxing sounds, such as a bubbling fountain, a small waterfall, or strategically placed wind chimes made from natural materials. Attracting birds with feeders and bird baths adds the melody of birdsong, while rustling grasses and the crunch of gravel paths create subtle, grounding background sounds. Taste. Edible plants are a perfect addition. Herbs like basil, rosemary, and parsley can be used for cooking, while fruit-bearing plants like strawberries, blueberries, or even a compact apple tree bring a practical and delicious element. Grow edible flowers like nasturtiums or violets to add color and flavor to salads or desserts. Advanced landscaping techniques for a rustic garden. A rustic garden may look effortless, but its beauty often lies in careful planning. To elevate your garden, consider advanced landscaping methods, terracing and levels. If your yard is on a slope, terracing can create distinct planting areas while preventing erosion. Use natural materials like stone or wood for retaining walls, and plant each level with a mix of flowers, shrubs, and ground covers for a cascading effect. Vertical gardening, especially valuable in smaller backyards. Vertical gardening maximizes planting area. Use trellises, arbors, or wall-mounted planters for climbing plants like clematis, morning glories, or runner beans. Vertical gardens can also serve as living walls, softening fences, or the side of your home. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the art of rustic garden design, with a special focus on bringing that charm to small backyard flower beds. If you enjoyed this content, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might find it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to Outdoor Oasis Ideas and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.